Adam, another full weekend for Carolina athletics. What's happening out there?
We certainly hope that the women's basketball journey to a possible ACC tournament championship is continuing, although as we were recording this, it's looking to be a challenge. Tar Heels played Boston College yesterday at 11 a.m. You know the outcome of that. We don't. We do know that Alyssa Usby played. Renaya Kelly did not play. So Tar Heels getting a little healthier. Carolina's had some trouble in the ACC tournament on the women's basketball side. So hopefully what we now see would be came back to beat Boston College and then would have a matchup with Florida State today, Friday at 11 a.m. That's if the Tar Heels won yesterday. Check your local listings. Big baseball series in town this weekend. It starts today, Friday at 4 o'clock against Stanford, the long-awaited Tar Heel Cardinal ACC matchup. Stanford last year, I think, for that Super Regional.
2011.
Which was a great series.
Yep. Tar Heels won that 2-0, that Super Regional, 2-0, but it was a really competitive, good series. Patrick Johnson had a great performance in the first game on the mound.
I think Stanford maybe 12-2 this year.
They're very good, yeah. They're traditionally good in baseball.
They haven't played a fantastic schedule, but they are good, and they will be a talented team. So that'll be a great series.
I didn't get any credit for my Remember Those Guys, Patrick Johnson.
That was good. Yeah, Patrick Johnson, he was a tough little nut.
Patrick Johnson, if you're a Carolina baseball fan, a guy who was always a good pitcher, but then his final year, he was awesome as the Friday night starter for Carolina. He was great.
Yeah. I liked watching him pitch. He was tough.
Bulldog out there.
In a different mold than some of the other great Carolina pitchers that the Tar Heels had up to those times where they would just wipe you out. Patrick Johnson would just go right at you.
He grid his way to get some outs.
This whole show has sounded like we're sitting on the front porch with R.J. Davis with a can of lemonade and talking about the old days.
Yep.
Men's tennis is on the road this weekend. That road trip will start today in Louisville at 4 o'clock. Women's tennis also on the road. Their road trip starts today at Clemson at 5 o'clock. Softball also opens ACC play. First game of that series is today at 5 o'clock in Chapel Hill against Pittsburgh. Then tomorrow, big day in Chapel Hill. If you're coming to the basketball game, you got a lot of other opportunities to do some stuff here in Chapel Hill. Outside of Chapel Hill, fencing's in the NCAA regionals. Men's golf has got a tournament in Florida at Sawgrass Country Club.
No, that's a tough one. Go play at Sawgrass.
And then in Chapel Hill, men's lax has got a match against Hofstra at 11 a.m. Well, you could start your day with the rowers against High Point.
Are they in University Lake?
Must be at 8 a.m. That's an early start. So then you go from there to men's lax at 11. Then maybe you can go by, catch a couple innings of baseball starting at 1 o'clock against Stanford. Then you have to drive down to softball and see the start of the softball game against Pitt at 2.
Dennis Goss furiously taking notes here.
We'll get to him. And then hot-foot it back over to Dorrance Field for women's lax against number 14 Virginia.
Wow.
That's a big one at 2:30 at Dorrance Field. Then you're exhausted. You go over to Franklin Street, get something to eat real quick. And then you go back to the Smith Center for Tar Heels Blue Devils at 6:30-ish.
Yeah.
You might have a little time to get a little more dinner than you think you do.
Yeah.
So what a day in Chapel Hill tomorrow. And then on Sunday, the Wrestling ACC Championships begin in Durham. Men's tennis is on the road at Notre Dame at noon. The softball series concludes against Pitt. That's also at noon. The swimming NCAA Zone B diving championships begin on Sunday. That's in Auburn, Alabama. Everything's basically happening at noon. Women's tennis is at Georgia Tech at noon. Baseball, they're going to be different. They break the mold. They finish the series with Stanford at 1 o'clock. And then you know what happens at 5 o'clock. It's quad meet time for the Gym Heels. Tar Heels, Alabama, Cal, and Michigan State, all in Huntsville, Alabama. That's on the ACC network. So when you're exhausted from your hard weekend of watching Tar Heel sports, you can finish it up there watching that on TV. It starts at 5 Eastern.
The Doppler Angel 5000 says 64 sunny to partly cloudy in Chapel Hill on Saturday. So great weather.
What a day.